All right, so let's take this and we're going to put some of this in here. Now, I stick that there. I'm going to analyze this just from a couple different brush strokes. And I think that's too dark. Okay, two things. First of all, I definitely want this value to be lighter than this value here. All right, but it is not. It's pretty much the same value. I mean, if I stick that there, it is a little bit lighter in value. All right, but notice how over here it looks the same value. All right, so and it ultimately depends on how it looks. So I'm going to grab some more white and mix that in there. Now, as I go white, it's going to go a little cooler. So I want to be a little careful with that. I'm going to rub some of that off. All right, so now I'm going to put some more here. And that's better. Okay, it wasn't much of a difference in the actual value of how I raised it, but notice how much of a difference it makes when I stick that on there. And we don't want our clouds to be a very dark value. Unless you're doing like, some kind of super dark storm clouds and you're doing kind of a stylized thing. That's a little different. So I'm going to put these on a bit of an arc going this way. Clouds are round, all right? I mean, they're not round, but they have overall, cumulus clouds kind of have a rounded shape to them. So we want to think more of a sphere. And if you remember, when you think of a sphere, when light's hitting it, we want to show kind of a curve like this as far as our shadow is concerned to emphasize that sphere. So when you put this shadow on, make sure that it looks lighter than this shadow here. In fact, this shadow is not much darker than our highlight right there. It is somewhat, but not a whole lot. Now, when you're doing clouds like this, there's essentially three parts to them. At least this is the way I handle clouds. You have your shadow area, you have your highlight area, and then you have this core area between the shadow and the highlight. It's a transition area, okay? When it starts to go from light in the shadow or vice versa. And with these clouds, now you don't necessarily see this when you're out painting clouds. I mean, sometimes you can, but you don't necessarily see it, but it works really well for doing clouds. This transition area, I like to make this a slightly reddish pinkish tone. So I'm going to grab a bit of white and a little bit of alizarin. Not much. I might tone that down with just a bit of viridian because I don't want it to be super strong. And I might grab also just a touch of ochre as well. So I want a fairly neutralized value. I'm going to stick that on there. Now that's too dark. Okay, we need to go lighter than that because I don't want it to be the exact same value as the shadow. I want it to be about a step or two lighter. So let me try that. That's better. And when you stick that on there, it should not be, I'm going to put a little bit of this on here for you because what I want you to do is match the relationships over here more than trying to match an exact color off my palette. Because you don't have to match my palette exactly, but if you can get the relationship looking correct here, that's what's going to make your painting turn out well. So what I'm going to do with this transition area is I'm going to bring this a little bit over into the white. And see how we have this hint of red here. Now this hint of red, it does a couple things. It creates a nice transition, but it also has a functionary purpose as far as your color is concerned. The next color we're going to mix is going to be titanium white with just a smidget of yellow ochre to get the white part of our clouds. But what would happen is if you mix this titanium white with some yellow ochre into this more slightly bluish color, a lot of times what can happen is it can kind of create this mucky green color in your transition area. So having this red, this slight hint of red between there will neutralize any green effect and kind of create a boundary, if you will, so you don't get that happening. For those of you who've maybe painted clouds and if you've ever had that issue. All right, so I'm going to take some titanium white, clean as I can get it, and mixing in just a smidget of yellow ochre because we want it to be a little bit warm. So it's going to be mostly white. The yellow ochre is just going to slightly offset it. And I'm going to start, on the whitest side of the not the mountains, the clouds. Now we're doing this wet on dry. If we were doing this wet on wet, you'd have to be a little more careful with your technique. And if you want to see how I do that, the monthly demo shows how to do that. So I'm going to put that right there just like that. And then what I'll do is after I get the stuff that I want to be bright and clean, if you will, then I'll start to grab more and bring it down into this transition area a little bit and start to soften that. You don't want to over soften, but soften it, as much as you like, whatever your preference is with that. I'm going to do a little reshaping here. And I'm going to show you one more thing you can do with clouds. Another thing you can do is paint them with a palette knife. So, and you can do this even after you get them established to give more interest. Going with the palette knife, I'm applying the dark part. I'm going to put some of the transition in. And then some of the light. And see how when I did that with a palette knife, because my...
Thanks for watching this short clip from my most recent live oil painting session. Our group, Oil Painting at Home, meets online 4 times a month through Zoom, and we work on an oil painting together from start to finish. Members of the group interact not only with me, but with each other while we paint, and they get live feedback on their work. Each session is recorded, which allows members to catch up on anything they may have missed or would like to see again. I also record myself doing the same painting privately in my studio with full commentary. This lets students see how I do the same painting from start to finish in just 1 or 2 sessions using a wet on wet technique. We also meet together for live Q&A and critique sessions, and not only that, but members get immediate access to all past painting sessions so they can learn how to paint a wide variety of subject matter at no additional cost. This amounts to hundreds of hours of instruction. Access to Oil Painting at Home's live sessions are very limited and turnover is very low. So if you've not done so yet, sign up on the priority list by clicking on the link in the description below. Once a space becomes open, I'll let you know.